Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for your patience while we dealt with some minor technical difficulties. My name is Charlotte Vincer, and I'm the Programming Associate for our Primetime section of the festival here at the Toronto International Film Festival. Welcome to today's session for our industry conference. This is our last session of the day. However, tomorrow we kick off our DOC conference with visionary Werner Herzog at 10 a.m. and a full day of incredible programming, so we hope to see you all there. To begin, we encourage you to reflect on the land that you are on and its history. TIFF and Glen Gould Studio are located on the treaty lands and territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit and the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, the Wendat, and the Haudenosaunee. The territory is within the lands protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant and is home to many First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We are truly grateful to work on this land and to bring the work of Indigenous artists to our audience. It's an honor to present our next dialogue session, Platform Directors. We're very pleased to have two of this year's Platform Directors joining us today, Maïmouna Doucouré and Carolina Markowicz. Together, they will discuss their official selection films along with their unique approaches to their craft. We'd also like to thank our lead sponsor, Bell, major sponsors RBC, Visa, and Bulgari, our major industry supporters, Telefilm Canada and Ontario Creates, and our media partner, Variety, for supporting the dialogue strand. Leading us through the conversation today, we will have Robin Citizen, Director of Festival Programming and Cinematheque here at TIFF. Please join me in welcoming Robin, Maïmouna, and Carolina to the stage.
Please also welcome Lemembo, who is our French interpreter for today. Thanks for joining us, Carolina and Maïmouna.
Hello, everybody.
You're both credited as the writers and directors of your most recent platform premiere films. Can you please talk us through the creative process of a script and then bringing that script to life?
The process to the script, to the screen.
Yes.
What is very interesting for me, first of all, I want to let you know that my English is not very good. I have with me that great translator. So I'm going to try to speak by myself, and he will help me if I need. So apologize if I do some mistakes. So for me, what I like is you have an idea in your head, so you write it through the script, and then you have that evolving when you find your actors first. You know, during the rehearsal, you just try to get live the words, the dialogues, and you see if it works or not. So you rewrite. I rewrite the script in that step first, and then when I am on the set as well, because you know, with the set design, the moment, everything can bring changement to the script. And what I like is when we have sometimes, you know, that kind of unexpected moment. You imagine things like that, and because, I don't know, it's raining, for example, and you write, yeah, it's a beautiful day with a lot of sun, and the character is walking on the street, and that day it's snowing or raining. So I used to just accept whatever happened and feel that it can be magical. I don't know why, but as a director, I feel like even something unexpected happened, I have to take it positively, and I will find something to just change my script and have something better. Because I believe, yeah, that kind of magical on the moment. So yeah, the script process is evolving during all the journey and of course, during the editing as well. So, yeah.
Sounds like there's some flexibility there, like just taking whatever happens and kind of reworking around that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Carolina?
Hello, nice to be here. Thanks for being here. It's a pleasure, Robin. I have a pretty similar process, and my English is not very good as well, but I don't have a translator, so I hope you understand. Well, first, I suffer a lot writing. I think it's the hardest part. As a writer-director, I must say, I think directing I find very hard, but writing, it's something like a blank paper is it's so frightening, I think. But anyway, we try and we do. I also have this process of writing that I write as if the script was the most important part of the film, and then I rewrite and rewrite and rewrite. And then when I'm going in prep or to shoot, and then I see a location or a line that the actress said or anything, and I change completely because I think it was worse, so it was better than what I thought before. So I think one of the best things when you are writing, and I think it's quite the same thing, right? If you are writing and directing and then editing, I really like the idea of whatever you are doing after comes up better than what you thought before. So I think I like also thinking that we are, as directors, radars that should be all the time paying attention in what the film asks you to.
Yes. I want to talk a little bit about tone, and I never mentioned the title of your films. Maïmouna's film is Hawa, and Carolina's film is Charcoal. And I want to talk a little bit about tone, because I think for newer filmmakers, getting that tone right, is it a dark comedy? Is it a thriller? Is it kind of a more hopeful narrative? Can be a bit tricky. And I want to actually show a clip from Charcoal and then ask some more questions about that.
Esses bichos aqui, qualquer merda que você punhar pra eles, come. Depois fala que o porco quer porco. Pescoço de gente faz mesmo barulho assim, cano de tronco.
So in this film, a struggling family makes a deal, not with the devil, but with somebody that will kind of improve their situation. And you really lean into kind of the more darker elements of somebody's, how far people will go in certain situations, and there's a certain amount of absurdity to it. How do you work all of those ideas in, particularly absurdity, and not let it get too unwieldy or too preachy?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank the presence of my main actress here, Maeve Jenkins. I think I just start writing and writing and writing, and when we were working together, me, her, and the other cast, that I was lucky enough to have the most amazing cast I could ever dream of. And we were like, this is a bit weird. This film is weird. How will you do? And then we were all like, oh my God. So our rule was we would not ever blink to the audience. We would never, ever believe that we were doing something like that intended to be funny or intended to be dark, or they were like, they had no conscience of the things that were bad that they were doing. So it all needed to feel very normalized all the time. And I think this was the rule that we needed to follow the entire time, that this was serious, that this was normal. So I think that the idea was if we got this wavelength, we thought it would feel good, it would feel real. And we wanted also to shoot very naturalistically, to have this contradiction between the absurdist moments, which are a lot, and we thought that portraying it in a very normal way could have like this weird feeling, maybe different, but never intending to put a specific tone or specific genre, you know? It was the situation was leading everything, but all the characters were behaving as if everything was very normal to them.
It's interesting that you say like you thought about the form and kind of how you shot the film to kind of balance out some of the potential extremity of what was happening in the narrative. I want to, go to a clip of Hawa, because these are very different films tonally, to talk about how you handled the more optimistic and expansive narrative.
Les derniers livres, c'est maintenant, s'il vous plaît, parce que dans quelques instants, Madame Obama va devoir partir.
C'est bon, vous arrêtez de pousser maintenant? Non, mais franchement...
Mademoiselle, je peux voir votre livre? Vous avez votre ticket de caisse? Oui. Non, vous en avez pas. Non. Si, faut sortir. Michel! Michel! Allez, arrêtez, mademoiselle. Non! Vous sortez!
So many of us want to be adopted by Michelle Obama. But there's so much warmth in this film, but it's never overly sentimental. So how did you balance that?
Oui, il y a beaucoup de travail que vous avez fait dans ce film. Et comment est-ce que vous balancez les sentiments, les différents scénarios?
Okay, just first of all, never know if some people don't know about what is about the film. It's the story of Hawa, who lives with her grandmother, who will die pretty soon. So she has to find someone to adopt her, and she decided to, because she heard that Michelle Obama will come in Paris for 4 days, and she said to herself, okay, she's gonna be my mother. And she do her best to find her and ask her to adopt her. So it's why you can see this scene where she tried to meet her there in that library. How I work about the feelings, everything on the movie, I work with the feelings of my characters. Actually, I just try to be on the same side of her, how she breathes, how she feels, how she is emotionally. So everything is following that. Even, you know, the clothes, the design, the set design, even for the cinématographie as well. I'm working like that because I like to be, comment on dit, pour être sur le pouls du personnage, pour être sur her breath, non, comment on dit her beat, the beat of her hair.
Okay.
Voilà, okay.
Heartbeat.
Heartbeat, voilà.
Heartbeat.
Yeah. From
how she breathes.
Yeah, because what I like when I tell that kind of story, it just put the audience under the skin of my character. So I do whatever I can to just, you know, be very organic in the way that I tell the story.
Thank you. You talked a little bit about revising the script around the actor. But I want to go a little further into the casting process. I mean, you have your lead here as well. What is that process? How do you know when you found the person to kind of lead your story? And how did you know with Charcoal and Hawa?
I started writing Charcoal in 2017, I guess, something like that. And since from the very beginning, there were two actors that I wanted very much to be in the film. One of them was Maeve. I've seen her work in Neighboring Sounds, in Neon Boo, and I was absolutely in love. I thought she had that sweet, sour thing that I needed for Irene, which is a character that I don't know if you have seen the film, but there's a potential for hating her. So she needed to have something that you didn't know how, but you liked that woman. And I thought she was the perfect person to do this role. And also Cesar Bordon, who's an Argentinian actor. And who has done Headless Woman, Wild Tales, and he did one of my short films, and we got along very well, and he became a very close partner to me. So both of them, I was lucky enough to send the screenplay, and they got on board very early, like this time, like don't know how many years ago, 7 years ago, and we co-created a lot of things, and I was sending them the scripts, they were giving me feedbacks, and then the other cast came much closer to the shooting time, pre-production, and also, which I really enjoy doing, is like putting together like great, very experienced actors with non-actors. But when I mean non-actors, is like people who didn't even want to act ever in their life, ever. So in Charcoal, you will see like King, the hairdresser, who used to be my hairdresser when I was a kid in the countryside, and even the little boy Jean, which I fell in love with him completely, and he was a boy that we found when we were scouting location, and there are many other people from the city, because anyways, it's a family that live in a countryside, and then they receive this deal, so a guy comes living in their house, they need to hide them, but there's all this environment from this little city that people keep, you know, looking at each other's life and know everything. So there was a lot about the city and the people and how they would like influence in each other. And I think this influence between the very experienced actors and the non-actors at all were very rich for us. So we closed, we had everybody for the roles like 1 month before shooting. We stayed for 1 month in Joanópolis, the city, rehearsing, and like it's a complete different accent that they speak in the film that they have in real life, because it's a very common accent in the countryside of São Paulo, but Maeve is from Brasilia, Camila is from Brasilia, Cesar, well, Cesar was a foreigner, so he didn't need to get the accent, but the other actors also weren't from there. So we were like a family, and the pandemics, we shot right after, not after because there's no after, but unfortunately, but right in the very moment that we could go to set in the pandemic. So we were obliged to stay very close together. And this somehow was interesting because we were like so concentrated in the film in that small city. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much the process that we had.
Yeah. And Maïmouna, Sania, your lead, is also pretty well known outside of being an actress, and she has a social media presence. So did you know that you wanted her to be?
Actually, no. It wasn't about the social media presence. It was, I wanted to tell a story, a kind of tribute for, that kind of determination that you can have in life, and how that determination can be when you go more far from, in life with a difference, when you are unique. Because I had a daughter 4 years ago, and she's unique, she's different. And I had that question to myself, what life will, how life will be with her if I'm not here anymore. So this is the first reason why I wanted someone unique. And I decided to research an albino who is very rare in Paris. We don't have a lot of albinos, so I met a lot of girls from everywhere around the world, in Canada as well, by Zoom, Switzerland, everywhere, actually. And we finally find Sania Alifa. She came for the casting, for the callback 7 times. I felt that it's her, but she's very, very, so far from the character. I don't know if you will be here tomorrow for the first screening, but she's so different from the character, because in real life she's very happy, smiling all the time, speaking, and very feminine. And the character, as you can see, she's very like she has a light off inside her, And so we work really hard on that, and it was her first experience in a movie. And for the others, I think, all of my main characters act for their first time on that movie. For example, the grandmother, she's a very, very famous singer, the most famous African famous singer in the world, who is Oumou Sangaré. She worked with Oprah, Beyoncé, Alicia Keys, And I just take a plane to Bamako, where she lives, and I say, I want you on my film, and she say, oh, I have never played in a movie. And I say, I am sure that you can do it. And then we try with the camera, and it was an evidence. And you will see by yourself if you come tomorrow. And on the movie, we also have a singer, a real singer, French singer, Isolde, her first time as well. And we also have our France star, who is Thomas Pesquet. I don't know if you know him. He has been in space twice, and he came on the movie as himself as well for the first time. So I like to work with people who doesn't know how to play, and try to create a space very funny for them to be natural on screen.
I didn't know that so many people were not actors. Everybody seemed so comfortable on the screen in that film. Who are your influences as filmmakers?
Almodóvar, Kubrick, Agnes Varda. I think if I to say three.
Can you talk about why?
Well, I think Agnes Varda, for me, she has, I won't say had, she has something that can be, for instance, Le Bonheur, for me, is the most cruel way you can showcase with like sunflowers, you know. I am a fan of the mixing of genres, let's say like that, mixing of tone, and because I think life is like that. When you are happy, you are at the same time cruel or sad, and it can switch like this. It's so crazy. I think this about human beings. So I think this Almodóvar as well, the way that humor and sadness and melancholy and darkness of human beings. I think the mixing of all these feelings makes me very fascinated by him. And Stanley Kubrick is the way that he shoots the magic of the images and everything. So each one for a reason.
Maïmouna?
For my part, Asghar Farhadi, who is an Iranian director. I love the way that he can touch the authenticity of human being and the truth of his characters. I don't know how he do that, but yeah, I think I love all of his film since the beginning. I also really like the work of Guillermo del Toro. Really, one of my dream is to make a fantastic movie. Really, and I met him in Cannes, the last Cannes. We were sitting together. I was here. I come on the seat. I just turned my head, and he was just close to me. I said, "Oh my God, am I in a dream?" And then, and he was so warming and so kind, and I said, "Yeah, I'm the director of a film. Maybe you heard about it. It's Cuties." And he said, "Oh, you made Cuties. I love this film. I like this and this." And it was just, oh my God. Okay, I can die now in peace. Yeah, and I love his work, and yeah, he's such an inspiration for me. Yeah, Jane Campion, sorry, with the English accent. André Arnold as well. I like how the energy that she puts on her movies, and yeah.
I'm going to turn the questions over to the audience, but first I want to just say the Del Toro thing is super fascinating to me. Would you ever work in genre, or would you ever do a type of fantasy or horror film like Del Toro does? Or do you just like the way he shoots his films?
What I like is how he mixes the fairy tale, but with something very strong, with social issues as well. For example, one of my favorite films is, the French title is The Labyrinthe de Pan, but the Pan Labyrinth, I think it's, yeah.
Pan's Labyrinth.
Easy. Yeah, the Pan Labyrinth. Yeah, I think it's just through a child, how it's true, and even it's fantasy, you are just with the characters, and you are, it's very strong emotionally, and of course everything is, the way he tells the story is, yeah, amazing.
When you said through a child's eyes, I understood. I'm going to rewatch Hawa with that in mind. I'm opening to the audience. Do you have any questions? Yes.
when you guys are I'm a filmmaker. I've made a feature film with just my family members, the four of us here. And it's been quite a journey. And we're from the United States. And when you're writing, do you write multiple scripts at the same time, or do you focus on one script and then you get that project done, you put it to bed, and then you can concentrate on another script? Or do you just find that when the creative flows, it flows over here, and then you may be working on a film, but then you get other ideas that, do you find that you can do both?
Ideally, I like to be focused on one thing, but sometimes it doesn't happen for many reasons. Like, for instance, I have like these two films, Charcoal, that is here now, and Tall, one film that I also shot last year, because I've been writing both of them for 6 years. Tall I started later, but I started writing Charcoal, and then it was taking long to finance it. So I had the Tall idea, and then I started writing Tall, and then the producer of Tall raised the money. I was to shot Tall before, and then I came back to Charcoal because pandemics did not allow for me to shoot Tall before, because it was a more complicated film with many locations. So I go back to Charcoal, and then I go back to Tall. If I recommend it, no. but you know, sometimes films take too long to get done for many reasons, funding and whatever. So I think I will try to have, like, at least in a couple of years, like 2 things right, and then you go, and that's the way I thought it could be, you know, better to not to stay too long without doing the film and everything.
For my part, I like to work on one project because, for example, when I've made Cuties, I made a lot of research. I worked during a year and a half meeting 100 girls to just bring the reality, you know, in my film. And the same for Hawa. I am 100% on the project. You know, I'm sleeping with, I'm the morning as well, every day. And I met a lot of albino people to understand how, even it's not the main subject of the film, I wanted to understand how they feel that discrimination that they live, even in France. How, for example, that girl that I met, who was just 10 years old and told me that at school, she spent all the, comment on dit la cour de récréation? Dans la cour de
Recreation, the playground at the school?
Yeah, at the school. She spent all that time on the bathroom because the classmates just locked her inside because they don't want to see her. I'm talking about that because it's happened today. And they don't want to give her their hand, they beat her. So I meet so many people about, you know, just to feel how my character grow up with all of that hate from people. And of course, I give her love from her grandmother. So yeah, it's the way that I prefer to work. I also can say I was lucky for this project because everything was goes very fast. I met Amazon Studio one day, and 1 year after, I was on the first day of shooting. So, you know, just on 1 year, I wrote the script, preparation and everything, casting. So no time for another project, for sure.
1 year, that's the dream. That's amazing. Yes.
Hi. First, I want to say I watched both of your films, and I loved it. So just thank you for doing what you do. And just very inspiring. So just first wanted to say that. I just maybe had a question about the process with actors. Like, for instance, Maïmouna, I've seen Cuties before, and I know you're really amazing at directing young actors. And so with Hawa, you know, you saying that she's very different from what we saw. So curious to know if you had, like, what was the process, if there was a lot of rehearsals, or just your approach with her, but also in Charcoal, the little guy, the little boy was just also phenomenal. And what was your approach, you know, with him? Just curious if you can say a little bit about that.
You want to start? Okay. As I said, because my characters, the actress, you know, it's her first time. For Cuties, the same, you know, it was their first experience on screen. So I love to, you know, research and try to find a way to create a big game for them. So, for example, what I love to do is to connect the character to an animal. So each character that I have is an animal. If I tell you now that you are a snake, you know, your body will not move in the same way. And the way you look, things, everything is changing. So I like to, for example, on Hawa, she was a cat. So the way because she don't want to go to people, and the way she's walking. So I love to work in that way. And I don't give the script to my actors, especially when they are young, because I'm scared about the poetry, you know, the way to learn with, you know, as a poetry for children. So I prefer to read them the script, tell them the story, and then I have a lot of, I give a title for each scene together. We find, for example, we have the scene candies, and we have the scene room. So just one word, and it's very easy for them to remember. What else? As well on the set, because I like to speak during the shooting. My editor doesn't like that, but but I like to speak and direct my character on live, you know. So I have a kind of vocabulary to be fast, you know. For example, if I want to just my character my actor stop to play, to say something, I say chips, like, you know, the chips that you're eating, because, and if I want for them to just continue, it's hamburger. If I want more energy, it's watermelon. If I have a lot of little things like that. If I want the character just turn to the camera, because very discreetly, it's cocoa, like, you know, the coconuts. Yeah, and more. And to finish, about emotionally, because very often on my movies, I make my characters cry. So what I like to do is to connect with them, just taking their hand, and cry myself, but not just cry, just go inside me and find an emotion very deep, and then look at my character, my actress in their eyes, and connect with her and give her, you know, that emotion. And then when she catch her, I go on the side, and of course the camera is already on, and then, you know, the scene can start. For I can speak, I think, hours and hours, but I will stop now.
Oh, I'm ashamed now to say anything.
Oh, no.
No special words here. But the question was about kids or about actors in general? Actors in general. Okay, so, well, I love actors, absolutely love actors. I enjoy so much working with them, and I start doing a reading with them only the actors, not the non-actors, and even less the kids. The kids, I would never also give them scripts, never give the lines and anything. We create everything quite together. I have the lines written for kids, and then I like saying, oh, you're going to say that, but say it in your way. And then, for instance, Jean, the boy in the film, I got very lucky. Jean is unbelievable. He's a genius. The kid is a genius. You know, it's like makes it much easier for me. Maeve has worked with like how many kids, and she says that Jean is the most talented, the one that she has. The film is placed in a charcoal factory, and Jean was from that region, and his parents worked in charcoal factories. So he was almost like teaching us how to deal with that environment and everything. And he, for instance, was so smart that he kept all the atmosphere in the film. So it was an exchange from the actors with Jean. We began rehearsing, the actors, and Jean came. And we would improvise some scenes. For instance, when they are washing dishes, that scene was never even written. I was to Jean, you should be very disobedient to your mother right now. And that's all. She saw me speaking with him, and then she was washing the dishes, and that's the scene. She asks him to help her, and he doesn't go, but we didn't even rehearse that, nothing. He would come up with a lot of things. That's why I enjoy very much to be very clear about the tone to the cast, and then we rehearse a lot, and then we see all the lines that work very well, the ones that don't, and what will we say in this moment that this works, that this doesn't work, and do this thermal shock between non-actors and actors and experienced actors. I like to do that very much, but with a proper time to change things in the rehearsals when we still have time to fix things. I think this work between actors and director are very important to have time, because you will find a lot of flosses and a lot of better things that you thought before during this time. So there are my last draft of the script has a lot of things that came up with the actors or even with the non-actors during the rehearsals. And in the city, for instance, Maeve, you saw her now here like with a chicken, almost killing a chicken with her neck. Maeve is a vegan activist. So, yeah. So for her, it was like, she was like, oh my God, I can't believe you're making me do that. And then there was this woman in the city, and she lived out of it. She would cook chicken. So we went to Lourdinha's, our muse, to Lourdinha's house, like, every week, and we would go there and stay with her, and Maeve would see the way she would cook, the way she spoke, the way she moved. Even the way she moves in the film is a bit similar to her, right? She's inspirational. So I really enjoy doing these things also, doing like these little labs with the actors and going to see similar people that they could be inspired from. So for me, I think these are the main.
We have to wrap up. Feels so short, but I do want to ask you if you had one sentence, I'm so sorry, of advice for filmmakers, what would your advice be? Aspiring filmmakers.
Well, I think what we spoke here is the thing that I believe the most, that is more helpful for me, is that be always very open to what the film asks you to be, to what the film is telling you it must be like, because everything you think and everything you plan, okay, but you should be open to what the gods of the films are showing you, and if this line is better, if this location has like this little color right there that could be... I mean, I have a film that's called Charcoal that didn't have a charcoal in any moment of the script. And turns out that one day the location manager, he was showing us places, and there's this charcoal factory who we thought was so amazing and so perfect for the film, and then it became a character, but the film it wasn't even called that, it didn't have charcoal at all. So it was, it was something that came up, it was a gift that we received, and so in one sense, very short the sentence, sorry, but you know, pay attention to the signs to what's in front of you.
Maïmouna?
I have two things I can. Yeah, the first thing is for me very important is a team around you. What I love to do is to cast every department. I meet 2 or 3 cinematographers, everybody just have a casting, read the script, and feel what they have to say about the movie, what they can add more with you to create that story together. And the second thing is, during a long time, I feel that I'm not legitimate to be here as a director to tell stories, because during so many years I saw that cinema world is not for people like me. So what I can say as an advice, it's what you have to say matter, your voice matter. Just tell what you want to say and do what you want to do, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Carolina and Maïmouna. And thank you for your questions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.